Welcome to our module on the anatomy and physiology of the human body's major systems, with a focus on holistic mental health and wellness implications for treatment. In this engaging presentation, we'll delve into the intricacies of the human anatomy divided into 6 major systems: the musculoskeletal system, circulatory, nervous, digestive, respiratory, and integumentary system. 1. The musculoskeletal system. The musculoskeletal system is comprised of bones and muscles, serves as the body's structural foundation, facilitating movement and protecting vital organs. From the skull's protective embrace for the brain to the intricate pelvic girdle supporting weight transfer, we explore how these structures work together. Understanding skeletal and striated muscles' unique roles in voluntary and involuntary movements lay the groundwork for appreciating the complexity of the musculoskeletal system. The skull consists of multiple flat bones that interlock and form a protective space for the brain. They also create the structure of the face and mouth, with many attachments for the muscles that allow for all head movement. The spine is made of multiple interlocking vertebrae with a central channel for the spinal cord and exit points for the nerves. Like the skull, it protects the spinal cord and provides attachment points for both muscles and ribs. The thoracic cage, or rib cage, provides the rigidity of the chest, which is vital to the expansion and contraction of the lungs, making the rib cage vital to the respiratory system. It also serves to protect the vital organs within the chest. The pelvic girdle is one of the most complex anatomical structures in the body. It transfers the upper body's weight from the spine to the legs and has a massive number of attachment points for various large muscle groups for both the trunk and the legs. Like the pelvis, the limbs are complex and have many different joints and attachment points to allow for precise and varied movement. The muscle consists of bundles of smaller fibers, known as myofibrils, that are anchored to a bone via a tendon and have one or more nerves from the peripheral nervous system that allows for voluntary and involuntary contraction. All bodily movements stem from the muscles pulling against the bones across the joints. This type of muscle is known as the skeletal muscle or striated muscle due to the arrangement of the muscle fibers. There's another type of muscle in the body known as smooth muscle, a component of many bodily systems. This form of muscle is loosely arranged and does not have the characteristic striations of the previously mentioned skeletal muscle. Second, the circulatory system. Our circulatory system is a dynamic network of the heart, blood vessels, and blood, ensuring the delivery of oxygen and nutrient supply while removing waste. We unravel the heart's 4-chambered pump and explore the intricacies of blood vessels and emphasize the crucial role of red blood cells and oxygen support. The physiology of the circulatory system, with its rhythmic cardiac myocytes and specialized pathways, will paint a vivid picture of how our bodies maintain optimal function. The heart is a 4-chamber pump that fills with blood when it relaxes and propels it through the body when it squeezes or contracts. The chambers are separated by valves that prevent the backflow of blood. The coronary arteries run across the surface of the heart and provide oxygen to the muscle. Within the heart's muscle is a network of modified heart muscle cells that act almost like neurons, transferring electrical signals through the heart in a precise and structured manner. The blood vessels carry blood and regulate its flow to different areas of the body. The vessels are smooth muscle tubes that can expand and contract based on signals from hormones and the nervous system. Vessels are present in varying sizes within the body's various tissues. There are different types of vessels: arteries, arterioles, veins, venules, and capillaries, which all have unique functions. The blood is not traditionally considered to have anatomy, but known that it has many parts in the form of different cells: red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, and a variety of proteins, hormones, chemicals, all have different roles. The heart's muscle cells, cardiac myocytes, are unique in that they are electrically connected and do not require a nerve signal to contract. This allows them to beat in a rhythmic manner that allows for the effective pumping of blood, and a collection of specifically modified myocytes known as the SA node act as the pacemaker for a healthy heart, creating the electrical signals that spread through the myocytes and lead to the heartbeat. Other specialized myocytes act as fast pathways for these electrical signals, ensuring that the spread of electricity through the heart results in coordinated and effective contraction. As mentioned, the blood is a complex mix of cells and other compounds. The most relevant of these are red blood cells, and these cells have a protein known as hemoglobin that allows them to carry large amounts of oxygen from the lungs to the tissues in the body. White blood cells combat infection, and platelets help to block off any holes that form in the system. 3. The nervous system. The nervous system, the body's master controller, orchestrates responses from muscle movements to organ functions. We dissect the central and peripheral nervous systems, exploring the brain and spinal cord's role in control and communication. We'll delve into the intricate dance of neurons, their ability to transmit signals through action potentials, and the autonomic nervous system's regulation of involuntary functions, uncover the fight or flight and rest and digest dynamics of the sympathetic and parasympathetic branches. The central nervous system, CNS, is made up of the brain and spinal cord. Both of these structures are made up of a large number of neurons and support cells, with both large blood vessels and capillaries supplying the large amount of energy the neurons require. The peripheral nervous system, PNS, is extensive and covers all areas of the body. These nerves have a myriad of functions controlling movement in the body, controlling the functions of the organs, and returning sensory information from all across the body to the spinal cord and brain. The nerves of the PNS branch off to the spinal cord. The somatic nervous system, SNS, a branch of the PNS, peripheral nervous system, is responsible for controlling voluntary muscle movements. The autonomic nervous system, ANS, is a division of the peripheral nervous system, PNS, that controls and regulates the involuntary functions of the body. It plays a crucial role in maintaining internal homeostasis by regulating various physiological processes such as heart rate, blood pressure, digestion, respiratory rate, and body temperature, among others. The ANS, autonomic nervous system, is responsible for coordinating responses to changes in the external and internal environments to ensure the body's proper functioning. It operates independently and continuously without conscious effort or control. The ANS, autonomic nervous system, is further divided into two main branches. The sympathetic nervous system, which is referred to as the fight or flight or freeze response system because it prepares the body to respond to stressful or threatening situations. When activated, it increases physiological arousal and mobilizes energy reserves to help the body deal with perceived threats. The parasympathetic nervous system is often referred to as the rest and digest system because it promotes relaxation and conserves energy. It is most active during restful states, such as when we are sleeping or after a meal, and works to restore balance after the sympathetic system stress response. The physiology of the nervous system surrounds the ability of nerves to transfer signals. They do so via action potentials, which allow signals to transfer down the axon of the nerve and receptors at their end. The action potentials that neurons send are created by the opening and closing of voltage-sensitive ion channels on the neuron's surface. This results in a wave of electrical energy, which travels down the neuron and eventually releases neurotransmitters from the end of the neuron. The variety of receptors present on neurons and muscles allows neurotransmitters to be released due to an action potential to affect other neurons by stimulating other action potentials, or causing the release of calcium, which causes muscles to contract. Neuroscience is a study of the nervous system. The nervous system includes the brain, spinal cord, and networks of sensory and motor nerve cells called neurons throughout the body. Neuroscience aims to understand how the nervous system works to produce and regulate emotion, thought, behavior, and critical bodily functions, including breathing and keeping the heart beating. Neuroscientists study how a typical nervous system develops and functions, as well as disorders, diseases that cause problems with how the nervous system grows, functions, and works. For example, when someone reads, his or her brain signals to the eye muscles to help track along the line of text. At the same time, eyes change the words into signals that travel along neurons to the brain. The brain decodes these signals to read the words. Then the brain reaches into its stored information, including memories, to give meaning to the words by themselves, and then to give meaning to what the words are saying together. The entire process happens almost instantly, which is just further proof that the nervous system is fascinating. Our brain produces both thought and feeling signals. Thought produces an electrical signal, and feeling produce a chemical signal, which differentiates our brains from a computer, as computers and animate objects do not contain feelings or feeling chemical signals. Thought and feeling sensation combined will engage our heart-mind coherence, producing emotion which is felt within our physical body and will project into our reality as our behaviors and co-creative conditions, which is a physiological phenomena. For instance, thoughts are conscious and unconscious. Emotion can be redefined as a combination of feeling and thought, that you only have emotion when you are thinking about something and feeling something at the same time, and the combination of the two results in individual emotions. This phenomenon is also known as the thinking-feeling connection. We also store feeling and emotion in the body, since emotions release these chemical messengers and will settle in body tissue if emotion is not processed and released. The brain's most important job is regulating the systems and function of the body. Our past experiences are reconstituted in our brain, making it a fundamental ingredient of our present experiences and actions. In this way, we can often feel like a prisoner of our past. If we can change our programming shaped by our past, we can then have a new perspective for our present reality. We address this in our modules on epigenetic psychology and holistic psychology. 4. The digestive system. Our digestive system is a marvel, breaking down ingested material for energy and cell renewal. We'll explore the hollow and solid organs from the esophagus to the liver and pancreas. We'll dive into this physiology of nutrient absorption and the vital roles of specialized cells in the stomach, intestines, liver, and pancreas, as well as understand how these organs work in harmony to support the body's energy needs. The hollow organs are the esophagus, stomach, and intestines. The esophagus is a physical tube that connects the mouth to the stomach, and the stomach both physically grinds up food and chemically digests it with acid. The intestines then absorb the nutrients and water from ground up food with help from liver bile and pancreatic enzymes. The solid organs are the liver and pancreas. The liver serves the dual purpose of producing bile, which helps with the absorption of fats by the intestines and detoxifies the blood. The pancreas, like the liver, also has a dual role. It produces enzymes that break down protein and hormones, producing the balance of blood glucose. The physiology of the digestive system is heavily dependent upon the organ in question and has many multiple roles. The hollow organs tend to be specialized in the mechanical breakdown and absorption of food. In contrast, the solid organs create and secrete substances that assist with the chemical breakdown of food. The stomach and intestines have a variety of special cells and receptors that work to detect their contents and absorb them. The liver cells, known as hepatocytes, produce bile from the body's waste, which helps absorb fat in the intestines. These same hepatocytes are filled with complex enzymes that break down countless toxins the body produces. The pancreas has several types of cells. Some secrete enzymes to break down proteins, while others are known as islets, which secrete the hormones insulin and glucagon, which regulate the balance of glucose within the blood. Glucose is the simplest type of carbohydrate, making it a monosaccharide, meaning one sugar. 5. The respiratory system. The respiratory system, closely intertwined with the circulatory and musculoskeletal systems, facilitates the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. We'll examine the upper and lower respiratory tracts with a focus on the diaphragm's role in breathing. We'll uncover the physiological mechanisms that protect airways from contaminants and the alveoli's thin walls that enable gas exchange. The anatomy of the respiratory system is divided into the upper and lower respiratory tract. The division occurs at the level of the larynx. The upper respiratory tract consists of the nasopharynx and the oropharynx. In comparison, the lower respiratory tract is made up of the trachea, bronchi, bronchioles, and lungs, with the movements of air through the system provided by the diaphragm. The upper respiratory tract is responsible for the initial cleaning and warming of air before it is transmitted to the lower airways. The upper respiratory tract also carries food and fluids to the esophagus and is instrumental in producing speech. The larynx is a cartilage box that divides the GI and respiratory systems. It has a physical flap, the epiglottis, that protects the airway from food and fluids. The rest of the larynx is specialized to allow for speech production. The vocal cords and various cartilages can change shape to allow air to pass over them to create speech. The lower respiratory tract transfers air through a branching inverted tree made up of the trachea, bronchi, and bronchioles until it can reach the alveoli. These microscopic sacs have thin walls that are covered in thin-walled capillaries. These allow for blood to come in close contact with air. The diaphragm is a sheet of muscle at the base of the lungs that pulls air into the airways by creating negative pressure in the chest. Remember that when the diaphragm contracts, air is drawn into the chest, which is known as inspiration. The physiology of the respiratory system is best divided into the airways and the lungs. The airways have physiologic mechanisms that protect them from the countless viruses and bacteria in the environment. Countless mucus-secreting cells coat the inner nose, mouth, trachea, and bronchioles in the protective layer that inhibits bacterial growth and traps inhaled contaminants. These mucosal cells are paired with cilial cells in the lower airway, consisting of the tracheae, bronchi, etc. They are mobile and work to push mucus and contaminants up and out of the lower airways. The lungs' chief function is the exchange of gases between the blood and the air. They do so through the incredibly thin walls of the alveoli, which allow diffusion to naturally move gases from areas of high concentration to those of low concentration. And lastly, 6, the integumentary system, which forms our body's protective barrier environment. We're going to explore the complexity of the epidermis, dermis, and subcutaneous layers, understanding their roles in insulation, protection, and regeneration. Physiology of continuously dividing stem cells, capillaries, nerves, and glands that regulate temperature and contribute to overall well-being. The anatomy of the integumentary system is more complex than it would first appear. It has 3 main layers, the epidermis, dermis, and subcutaneous layers. The epidermis is a thick layer of dead cells that acts as a sacrificial layer for the body. This layer of cells gradually rubs off and protects the more fragile layers below. The dermis, which is the living skin layer with cells that continuously multiply and divide. It holds nerves, blood vessels, sweat glands, and oil glands. The subcutaneous layer is one of the main areas of fat storage, also acting as the significant insulating layer of the body. The physiology of the integumentary system is based on the continuously dividing stem cells in the dermis that create the thick epidermis. The dermis also contains countless capillaries, nerves, and glands that act to regulate the temperature through the mechanisms of vasoconstriction, vasodilation, and diaphoresis, which is also known as sweating. So in this holistic exploration of the human body, we've laid the groundwork for understanding the interconnectedness of our physiological systems and their implications for mental health and wellness. You can also stay tuned for further discussions and modules on the biopsychosocial aspects of holistic mental health in subsequent modules.